enjoyable. For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook. The Doctor is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Transmitting the treasures of our Catholic faith to your radio every day. This is the Guadalupe Radio Network. Radio for your soul.
Catholic radio played a huge part in my life in helping me understand the faith. It was like one of the biggest things, and I still listen all the time. I have the bumper sticker on my viola case. People see it and, oh, Catholic radio. It's the best thing ever. It changed my life. Catholic radio is amazing. Please support Catholic radio. It's just an amazing resource. So much you can learn there, so much inspiration to actually live out your faith. It's just incredible. I love Catholic radio.
The Guadalupe Radio Network. Radio for your soul.
Hi, this is Dave Palmer with news about a live remote broadcast this Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. at Little Angels Catholic Store Customer Appreciation Event in Capel. All are invited to come celebrate this beautiful local Catholic bookstore in Capel and enjoy some tasty food and special giveaways. We'll be there from 9 to 11 a.m. live on the radio, so please come by and say hello, pick up a bumper sticker and some other goodies. We hope to see you Saturday morning at Little Angels Catholic Store in Capel.
The Guadalupe Radio Network thanks Little Elm Eye Care for their support of local Catholic radio. Little Elm Eye Care is owned by Drs. Bert and Leslie Bubella, parishioners of St. Francis of Assisi Parish in Frisco. They specialize in family vision care, comprehensive eye exams, contact lenses, and the treatment of eye diseases and injuries. Little Elm Eye Care is located at 1200 East El Dorado Parkway, Suite 100, across from the Little Elm Athletic Complex. They can be reached by calling 972-292-0900 or on the web at littleelmeyecare.com.
The Treasures of the Church exposition of sacred relics is coming to St. Anne Parish in Capel this Saturday, December 10th, beginning at 1 p.m. Over 150 relics will be on display for veneration, including relics of St. Anne, the 12 Apostles, St. Joseph, St. John the Baptist, St. Mary Magdalene, and many more. The relics are presented by Father Carlos Martins of the Companions of the Cross. For more information and a complete schedule, visit treasuresofthechurch.com.
Welcome to Back to the Father, a show about the journey of life focused on our final end, which is God Himself, our loving Father. And now, here's your host, Dave Palmer.
And welcome, everybody, to this edition of Back to the Father here on the Guadalupe Radio Network social media sites. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we are on Twitter. And we thank you very much for joining us as we always talk every week about some topic related to the Summa Theologica by St. Thomas Aquinas. He is the doctor of the doctors of the Catholic Church, the angelic doctor, patron saint of all Catholic school education. So he is a big league saint in the church. I want to thank the CDT team for having me on this morning. Joe and Rudy and Adrian talking about the topic today, which is, what did St. Thomas Aquinas have to say about the season of Advent in the Summa Theologica? And you might be kind of surprised by the answer. You know, as I've mentioned a number of times, there are approximately 631 questions in the Summa, approximately 3,100 articles, And it's called the Summa Theologica because it's a summary of all things having to do with the Catholic faith. And it's very, very exhaustive, and he touches on pretty much everything. So I will pose the question to my esteemed panel of guests here in a moment about how much attention Thomas Aquinas gave to Advent. Okay, and I'll ask them. So let me, with no further ado, introduce. That was unfortunate. Maybe I should introduce William first.
I was going to say, maybe you should stop introducing us as esteemed.
I know. Sissel's having a moment. All right, this is William Kirkendall, who is not hitting himself with microphones. How you doing, William? Good to see you.
I'm doing great. Thank you.
All right. Doing a little better than Sissel is, apparently.
Yeah, for now.
We haven't had a show in, 3 weeks?
Yes, since before
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
We
it's
are
been
nothing
a while.
if not unpredictable.
I was gonna say we're out of, this is what it is. We're out of practice. I don't know how a microphone works apparently.
Even when you only have a show once a week, like we used to do GRN Alive on Fridays, and it was really hard to kind of build up an audience because you're on just once a week and people have to remember, as opposed to something like CDT, they're on every single day consistently for a couple hours and people can get into a habit. Not only are we not on once a week, many weeks we don't even show up. It's not that we don't show up, but last week it was the Share-a-thon.
Yeah.
The week before that, it was the day after Thanksgiving. And so here we are. And then I'll be honest with you, we're going to be on this week and next week, and then we're going to take a couple more weeks off because I'm going on vacation. Unless you guys want to do a show. It's happened before. With me,
William and I will have to have a powwow about that.
Last time I gave you guys
that's
that
exactly
option.
why I'm not saying anything. I'm not committing.
I know. So because you and Jonathan at the time, of good memory, you guys were like all excited. So the only time you could do it is if Adrian jumps in.
Yeah. Wow, Dave doesn't think that we can hold our own.
Wow.
I didn't say that. I'm saying the only time anybody actually does it. I went to a couple summers ago. I went to Florida and the Smoky Mountains. I think it was before your time, William. And Adrian did a show on hell. You remember that?
Yeah, Dave left us alone and we did a show on hell. It was hysterical.
Everything went to hell. Everything went to hell when I was gone. I knew that would happen. All right, so Sissel, I think, has gathered herself, and you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm solid. I might have to go to the dentist now. No, I'm joking. I knocked a few teeth out. No, I'm doing wonderfully, and just want to make sure everyone is clear that these are not Christmas antlers. These are Advent antlers.
Yeah. Okay.
Have, see the violet? See the violet going on?
Okay. All right.
Yep. So just want to make sure that was clear to everyone. By the way, Buddy is on and says hello.
Oh, Buddy's back.
Buddy
All right.
is back, and he says great antlers. Thank you, Buddy. I was also asking everyone in the comments, how's your Lent going? Or Advent. Oh my gosh. Maybe I'm not doing well still.
Yeah.
And he said it's going
start.
great, and he's going to a healing mass tomorrow. So that's
All right.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, we are just a few weeks from Christmas, and it's the Advent season. So, all right, let's get right to it. So, on the second slide there, I've got a picture of the Advent candles. You doing the candles
We
and
have
the
the
wreath and all
candles.
that at home?
I will say our first week candle is getting very, very short and stubby. I might need a new one.
See, we had this
getting
debate
down
at
there.
home because my wife, when we're doing our prayers, she'll keep the candle lit for such a tiny, tiny amount. And I'm like, no, let's just plan on burning them all the way down because you don't normally recycle, Advent candles.
Right.
I think you got to use new ones
Every year. Yeah.
And so I'm like, let's just keep it burning like into the evening hours.
Oh, I'm cheap then because I reuse them.
Oh, really? Because I want to see I want to see them in different heights. I want to see that first candle.
Yeah, well, our first one
much lower.
is like this big now, which is not good because I think we're getting close to a fire hazard pretty soon.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
But yeah, my sister's been burning them a lot, especially.
All right. So you guys want to take a guess? What did St. Thomas Aquinas have to say about
Can
Advent?
I take an educated guess?
Yeah, because you saw my preview, right?
Because I send out the email.
Did you see the email, William?
I saw the email. I
Okay.
didn't read it super carefully, but I did see
Oh,
the
I didn't
email.
read it either.
Now-
That much.
You sent it out. You didn't even read it. Now, I'm
joking.
I'm willing to be corrected.
Okay.
But because I've read through the Summa several times, but it's long, and one of my readings was like 10 years ago. I'm pretty certain, and again, I'm willing to be corrected, that St. Thomas Aquinas in the Summa Theologica did not specifically talk about the church's liturgical calendar. I don't think he did. He taught there was a section about the law where he talks about the old law and ceremonial precepts and things like that. But I don't think he ever talked about the Advent season, the Christmas season, the Lent season. Adrian, I think, is on board. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Adrian, but I don't think he ever did. So, William, you're going to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, does he talk about penance at all? Because you say he doesn't really talk about like the season, I guess. So would that mean he doesn't talk?
Oh, penance?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like the sacrament of confession?
Oh no, not
Just-
like
just
penance, like
in general.
fasting and
Oh, okay.
Kind of
Well,
things that are Advent and Lent.
abstaining.
Yeah,
things
yeah. I
like
mean,
that.
he talks about fasting under the virtue of fortitude.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he and maybe temperance. I think it'd be under temperance. And he definitely talks about penance and forgiveness. A big section at the end about all the sacraments. But I just don't think he ties it into liturgical seasons.
Yeah.
Okay, so he talks about the importance of them, but he doesn't talk
Yeah.
about them in this particular season.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. I see.
Yeah, Adrian says that I think he talks about the Mass, but not the liturgical season in the Summa.
Yeah. All right. Well, I feel
Interesting.
better since Adrian has confirmed that. So, so when I decided to do this topic, I thought, well, gosh, what does Aquinas say about Advent? Because, we're in the Advent season. And then once I decided, well, since he didn't talk about Advent specifically, let's talk about something Advent related, which would be, at the Nativity, Nativity, Christmas, it's Jesus's birth. Well, Advent clearly would be the time before he's born. So, we very rarely talk about the Jesus in the womb. What was that experience like? And some of the stuff may kind of blow you away if you haven't ever learned this before. And then I realized that talking about the condition of Jesus in the womb, particularly the first article that Thomas is going to talk about like his sanctification, very, very much ties in, next slide, to the Immaculate Conception. Because the Immaculate Conception is the dogma stating that Mary was sanctified, basically spared the punishment of original sin at the moment of her conception, right? But St. Thomas Aquinas did not give her that benefit. Now, he was wrong about it, but he, in the Summa, said, he kind of danced around it, saying, was she sanctified before animation, before conception? No. And was she sanctified in the womb? Yes. But at what point? And so he, and it wasn't until Duns Scotus came around later that it was, he came up with the whole thing that Mary was sanctified at the moment of her conception. All right, so we'll be talking about Jesus' sanctification and like, why did Jesus need to be sanctified? He's God. So there's a lot of interesting things. But we'll talk about that. So
As per usual, St. Thomas Aquinas did not write about Advent, but he wrote about Advent.
Advent-related things.
Advent-related things.
But he didn't tie it in.
Yeah.
I mean,
He just didn't tie it up in a neat little bow saying, now we're going to talk about Advent-themed things.
yeah. And I guess there would have been an Advent season, obviously,
I suppose,
back in the
yeah.
13th
Yeah.
century. And they would have probably had the wreath and the candles and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, so all right, so that is the topic we're going to talk about today. Sissel's keeping an eye on all the comments. Is there anything yet that we want to mention? I know you said Buddy.
Other than, so it's Buddy and Adrian who I've seen so far. Adrian and I've discussed that the best Advent movie is Die Hard.
How do we get into Advent movies?
I don't know. That's an Adrian one. So, other than that, that's about it. But if anyone has any comments or questions, just go ahead and write them.
The whole thing with Die Hard being a Christmas movie. Have you ever seen Die Hard?
I haven't. No.
It's like there's that one line from Die Hard that starts "Yippee-ki-yay," and it's like filthy, and it's like that line. I don't even know. What I'm talking about. Like that line in of itself I would never show that to my family, and it just I don't think it's the kind of movie that is going to give you the warm fuzzies at Christmas.
No, it's not the same. It's not the warm fuzzies vibe.
It's not exactly It's a Wonderful Life. It's an action movie, that kind. But I know there's vulgarity in it and all that. So
By the way, Forrest is here and says, howdy y'all. And I just want to give a real quick shout out to Forrest because Forrest shouted out Back to the Father during the Share-a-thon when he very kindly made a donation and said his favorite shows were CDT and Back to the Father.
good choices.
I know. I was going to say, we could have just Back to the Father would have been fine too. But I'm joking.
Adrian's listening.
I'm joking. No. But thank you very much, Forrest. We appreciate
Didn't
that.
he call in more than once?
Yeah, I did, and I was able. It was great. One time I was on the air with Sammy, and I was able to talk about Back to the Father a little bit. So thank you.
Yeah. All right, Forrest. Well, thanks so much. It's maybe the first time a Back to the Father viewer has ever donated during a Share-a-thon, so we appreciate that. Where does he live? What part
I
of
don't know. That I don't know.
Forrest, where are you?
By the way,
where-
Adrian says, "Ouch." I said sorry.
All right.
Sorry.
So when we talk about next slide here, the moment Jesus, takes on human flesh. Okay, this would be the incarnation, and this would be the famous Annunciation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I were to say Annunciation to a group of 100 Catholics, Christians, right? And I said, just give me what comes to mind. Pretty much everybody, I think, would say the angel Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
If they're knowledgeable about Catholic theology, they'd say the fiat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the let it be done to me according to thy
Mm-hmm.
word, right? But very few people would talk about what's happening inside her womb, because what's happening at that very moment when Jesus took on human flesh, which would have been right then. So that's what we're going to talk about. At that very, very moment of conception, what exactly did Jesus have the ability to do? Have you ever learned any of this stuff or even thought about
No,
it?
honestly,
no.
it's not something I ponder.
No.
Aquinas did.
Yes, clearly.
Yeah, because he's Aquinas.
He pondered a few things.
That's
in
why
his
he's the
time.
doctor of the church and you're not yet, Sissel.
I'm also
Yet.
alive.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think they allow you to become a doctor before you die.
Yeah. Well, there's always hope, right? There's always hope. So, all right.
Sounds
So,
vaguely threatening.
yeah. So,
By the way, Forrest is from Hondo, Texas, which is outside
Hondo.
of San Antonio.
yeah. Okay. Hondo. Did I tell you about the joke I said about Hondo one time?
I don't think so.
No.
So,
is it going to offend Forrest and make him leave?
No, not at all. we want to hold on to our people, don't we? We can't afford to lose anybody, okay? So no. So I'm emceeing an event down in San Antonio for Fullness of Truth a couple years ago. Okay. They've got this big event that they hold at this
Yes.
big resort. It was a great honor to do that.
Cool.
So they have a room at this hotel called the Hondo Room, clearly named after the city or whoever the city was named after, right? So the Hondo Room. So I was telling everybody, well, there's going to be a presentation during our break in the Hondo Room, right? And I said, you can find the Hondo Room right next to the Toyota Room. Okay. So is Forrest still with us? No, that's pretty good, isn't it?
That is pretty good.
I mean, come on.
How does Toyota
Toyota. No, Toyota.
No, I said, how does Toyota go on the air?
No, I mean, seriously. That's pretty good.
You
isn't
know,
it?
that's great. I honestly genuinely think this is terrible. I think of Star Wars because I think there's a Star Wars character with the name Hondo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there is. I think.
Okay. Because, I mean, when I hear Hondo, I immediately think Honda. That's a car company, right?
The female,
And I'm like,
the
why did they add an O to the end of it?
No,
Okay?
because it's the masculine version.
a masculine Honda.
Yeah, exactly. No, by the way, apparently Hondo means deep in Spanish. So it's deep in the heart of Texas.
It's an actual word. Okay. I mean, it's an actual, it means something. Okay. I thought it was named after somebody, like Joe Hondo or something. Okay. So.
Oh, dear.
All
I'm
right,
so sorry,
getting
Forrest.
back to from the ridiculous to the sublime. Is Forrest still with us, by the way?
I really hope so.
Did he leave yet?
I really
Forrest.
hope so. He's probably going to take his donation back.
I don't. Yeah, he's calling Lisa right now. Only the time when I mentioned Back to the Father. Okay, so in the third part of the Summa, affectionately called the Tertia Pars, there is a question with 4 articles, and I got a slide up here on it, of the perfection of the child conceived. Okay, and then the next slide, these are the 4 questions that Thomas asks. Okay, whether Christ was sanctified in the first instant of his conception. Article 2 says whether Christ as a man had the use of free will in the first instant of his conception.
Oh.
Okay, let me ask you this, and I open this out to the everybody out there in social media land as well. Did we, you, me, Adrian, Forrest, William, Sissel, Diane, have free will at the moment of our conception in the womb?
Yes, but I don't know what we do with it.
So you think we had free will? What do you think?
Yes?
I would think so. I'd agree with Sissel because we have it since our conception, but we don't really know what to do with it. I mean, we're stuck there till birth, but
yeah, I mean,
but
did we have reason? I mean, do we?
Adrian says yes, but actually no.
I don't know. I don't know 100% that I know the answer to this, but based on
when you do that.
I know, based on what Aquinas is going to say, I would say we don't. I think we are. I think we are agents of free will. It's kind of like can an embryo walk? Potentially. but not yet. You know,
Right,
so are
right.
they creatures with the ability to walk?
When does the free will get zapped into us?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like, when do we have the age of reason? You know, age of reason comes at about 7 years old. That's at least when we're held accountable for our actions. That's not to say that, you know, 4-year-old kids can't reason, but okay. So we'll talk about that when we finish. Article 3: whether Christ could merit in the first instant of his conception. Now think about that. I mean,
So merit. So
now, can we merit towards our salvation?
from the moment of conception?
No, not from the moment of conception. No, I mean, like from you
I was gonna say, I don't know what we would do.
Yeah, no, that's the point. I mean, none of us remember being in the womb. I mean, Joe was saying this morning on CDT that his first memory was 2 years old. It was something tragic that happened. It was something I forget exactly what it was, but I mean, not tragic. You know, more kind of like
Not a happy memory.
yeah, it wasn't like a car crash
Sure.
or something. It was just something that happened, had to do with his dad, and so yeah, it wasn't anything big, but it was just something that was kind of funny. But when we're in the womb, there's no memory, there's no recollection, there's nothing. None of us remember.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Imagine if you could remember back then. If you were claustrophobic, man, that'd be a tough 9 months, wouldn't it?
That would.
Yeah.
Man, we'd all be claustrophobic.
I know. It'd be kind of fun though, kind of swimming around and sucking our thumbs and
Like,
stuff.
here, let me beat on my mom's stomach as much as possible.
It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right, so now the last one is whether Christ was a perfect comprehensor in the first instant of his conception. Do y'all know what a comprehensor is?
No idea.
Take a wild
Someone
guess.
who comprehends things.
Yeah. What in particular? I bet Adrian knows this one.
Perfect. Oh, just like, would he have full knowledge of, like, God? I guess you'd say. Like
Very good. Yeah. No. It's basically the beatific vision.
reindeer ears for the win.
Okay.
Antlers for the
But it did
my
not merit
thinking.
the applause from Diane because Diane's on the phone right now. So yeah. So now we understand that our knowledge and our understanding right now will be highly, highly amplified if and when we get to heaven and we receive the beatific vision, right? Everything will change in the way that we're able to know things and come to understand God and all things, right? Our minds will become angelic. Okay, well, Jesus, while walking the earth in his human nature, was a comprehensor. He had that knowledge already. But Thomas is going to say, well, did he have that at the moment of his conception? So at the moment of his conception, when he was a little, is the first stage embryo? Is that what it is?
Isn't it the
Zygote
is
or
it zygote?
Zygote or
first?
embryo, I'm not sure.
Okay, so
We
as
all
a
might need to
little-
retake that class.
Biology, yeah.
So as a little zygote, did he have the beatific vision already?
That's a lot for a little guy.
A lot to comprehend.
Well, I mean, he was God, so
so you're gonna say yes?
I mean,
officially?
I suppose,
On
yeah.
the records right now.
Yeah.
All right,
don't
Sissel,
know.
you want to take a guess?
I don't know.
See,
I'll say no just to be contrary.
If you guys would just wake up early and watch CDT in the morning, you know all these
Okay,
answers.
what
you know?
would the point of this show be, Dave?
If you already know everything, right?
Have that
okay.
genuine curiosity.
All right. So, anyways, that's what we're going to be talking
Adrian
about.
says yes, by the way.
Okay.
His answer.
So trust Adrian. Adrian is a very, very bright Thomist.
So I should
All
change
right,
my
so-
answer.
Yeah, probably so. Were you non-committal?
I said no just because I wanted to be contrary to to William, so that if it was a competition. had a
All right,
chance.
so all right, just a little reminder here. I've got the official doctrine of the Immaculate Conception, which we celebrated yesterday from the Constitution in Ineffabilis Deus, 1854. Pope Pius IX pronounced and defined that the Blessed Virgin Mary, in her first instance of her conception, by a singular privilege and grace granted by God in view of the merits of Jesus Christ, the Savior of the human race, was preserved exempt from all stain of original sin. Okay? Interestingly, did you know, I don't know if we've talked about this before, St. Thomas Aquinas, like, you know what the foams of sin are? That's like the tendency that we have to sin, or sometimes we call it concupiscence.
Concupiscence,
yeah.
Like the tendency to eat too much or sleep too much or have, inappropriate, sexual desires or something like that, which, we're all prone to some degree from these, right? So did Mary have the foams of sin? Now, we know that Mary didn't sin, but did she have any temptation to sin? Okay. What, did she have...
Is this an official church teaching, or is it just one of those things that you're like,
You're trying to figure out.
I'm just not want to know.
All I can tell you is what Aquinas said.
Okay.
And I don't think what Aquinas said on this is in agreement with church teaching. Again, I know
Okay.
we
So
got
I'm
some
gonna
very,
say
we got
that-
some very bright people out there watching, and if you guys want to weigh in on this, I know what Thomas said, but I don't necessarily know that this is official church teaching. Okay.
So I'm going to say that he said yes, she did.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Have
say-
some.
She had some,
some
she had
concupiscence?
some temptations,
So
but she didn't do, obviously follow through with them.
So she never sinned. So if she had a,
But no,
she,
like,
she had-
actual
she had
effects.
12 donuts in front of her, she could see like, I'd like to have 4, but I'm only gonna eat 1.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you agree, William?
Actually, I'm gonna say that Thomas argued the opposite, that she didn't.
Had
have
no
she had
foams.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna say.
What he said actually is when she was, conceived and and grew up, and because we believe that she the Annunciation happened when she was about 13 or 14, right?
Yeah, 14.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Thomas said that when the first 13 years of her life, she had like a infinitesimally small amount of concupiscence. Okay. And the only reason he said that was that he didn't want to give her the same privilege as Jesus. But then he says the moment of the Annunciation, when Jesus entered into her womb, it was gone.
Interesting.
Okay, so it was only when she
Like-
conceived
Until-
Jesus.
okay.
Because Thomas wanted like Jesus to be the one that cleansed her. Now Thomas definitely said she never sinned. She was
Right.
immaculate. But yeah. So after
Interesting.
Jesus gets into her womb, no temptation.
She never had temptation after that.
No, what he would call the foams of sin. Okay, what we would call.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's
All
interesting.
right, so now you know.
Now
All
I do.
right.
There you
Okay,
go.
so here you go. All right, so that is that. Now let's. I'm gonna do something kind of interesting. Remember Away a Day?
No, I've never heard of her.
Nope.
Yes, I
Come
do.
on, have we did Away a Day?
I don't think he was here. Were
Okay.
you here when we did Away a Day? No, I don't think he
I'm
was.
not familiar
Before
with
we
it.
get into this, and this is my ADD brain going in a different direction here, but I teach this class of high school kids. Thomistic philosophy, go through the entire Summa over the course of a year, and they and what it is I ask them about once every 3 weeks or so, find something in your world that's beautiful, some creature, some insect or dog or squirrel or earthworm or whatever, and then connect it with God. And so I assigned this a couple of weeks ago with the students, and a large number of them turned in sunsets. Okay.
Ooh.
And
Good choices.
Yeah.
so I'm gonna show you 3 sunsets turned in by my students, and I want everybody to just tell me which of these sunsets you find the most beautiful. Because I find personally the sunset and the sunrise to be one of the most obvious, clear signs of God's love. Like it's like an artwork every single day that we're treated to. Sometimes they're a little bit more beautiful than others. So, all right. So here's number 1. Sunset number 1. Do you
Hold
see
on,
that
I have
there?
the sparkle. The sparkle.
Are you got the delay?
I have a circle of death over here as it's reloading my page. So hang on.
The circle of death.
The little dude.
Yeah. Okay.
The,
All
I
right.
meant whatever.
So there you go.
Oh, that's really
And
pretty.
everybody.
Oh, and it's got like a silhouette and
that cool?
everything, and the reflection in the water.
And okay, so
That's
there's number
pretty.
1.
That's really pretty.
Here's number 2. And interestingly, my student, I'll leave her name anonymous.
Ooh,
When she sent this in, I was like, "That is so cool. Is actually like where you live?" And she said, "Yeah, that's my back porch." I mean, wouldn't that
Wow.
be cool?
Wow.
I mean, to actually live there.
Oh, it's one of those things that you just
Wow.
you'll take it.
It's-
You'll forget and you'll take advantage of and forget that you have.
Yeah. What state do you think this is?
I'd say like Maine or
I
something
do know
like
the
that.
answer.
Somewhere in the Northeast, Maine potentially.
I would say the Northeast somewhere.
Yeah.
I'd
It could
somewhere
also
in New
be-
England.
It's not the ocean. You can tell because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can see
Yeah, yeah,
the
you can
land
see
on the
the-
other side. It's actually New York.
Oh, okay.
Oh, very
Yeah,
nice.
somewhere in New York. I'm not sure which city. Okay,
Okay.
so that's number 2. Here's number 3. Different kind of vibe, more of kind of the.
I'm on a delay, so sorry if I'm not
okay.
reacting. Oh,
The circle
that's
of death.
also
Isn't that
really
cool?
pretty. That looks
clearly
like
taken from the car. That's not kind of like New Mexico or
yeah, it
something.
could be
Yeah.
Mexico. There's parts
Yeah.
of Missouri that actually look like that too. so.
So all right, there they are. You guys got a favorite? Which one?
I'm
going with the second one.
I'm going with number 1 or number 3 actually. So number 1, I really just like the silhouette
Okay.
of the trees and
Yeah.
also the reflection in the water.
Yeah, pretty cool.
And then I also like the third one because that looks just like a very nice vibey drive. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
You can-
Yeah.
Yeah, so very beautiful.
Yeah.
They're all beautiful, though.
About a week from now, I'll be on Route 66 heading out west. Okay. It looks kind of like Route 66-ish.
It does look Route 66.
Yeah. All right. So anyways, did anybody vote in
Anyone
social
have
media
any
land?
favorites?
Anybody
friends?
guess, or everybody just like, all right, come on, man, let's get to the subject matter here. All right, so okay, we're gonna go over these 4 questions real quickly, okay? And then don't forget we have trivia fun coming up a little bit later as well. All right, whether Christ was sanctified in the first instant of his conception, okay, which is what the Immaculate Conception is all about, because that's a privilege that Mary received as well. And here is what he said. He quotes Luke 135, the holy which, he says yes, by the way.
Spoilers.
Yeah, the answer is yes. The holy which shall be born of thee shall be called the Son of God. And then interestingly, John 10:36, whom the Father hath sanctified and sent into the world. So if you were to say, well, Jesus doesn't need to be sanctified because he's God, he's holy already. Well, clearly from Scripture, Jesus was sanctified, right? The abundance of grace sanctifying Christ's soul flows from the very union of the Word, according to John 1:14. We saw his glory as if it were of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. For it has been shown above that in the first instant of conception, Christ's body was both animated and assumed by the Word of God. Consequently, in the first instant of his conception, Christ had the fullness of grace sanctifying his body and his soul. Okay, we don't have that. We don't have the fullness of grace. Mary did, and Jesus did, right? So at this point, you'd say, wow, well, what's the difference between Mary and Jesus? They both were sanctified at the instant of their conception, right?
Right.
So what's the difference?
One is God and one is not.
Yeah, big difference, okay?
Yeah.
So, all right.
So that minute little change.
Yeah, a little
That
tiny
little
thing, okay? So, all right, so next one says, whether Christ as man had the full use of free will in the first instant of his conception. Think about that. So, still kind of pondering this one?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Definitely.
This was interesting.
Anybody want to take a guess?
I would say it could go either way. I don't know what he says.
Technically, yeah.
I guess I'm going to say yes, he did.
Okay, that he had full use of free will.
I'm just going to commit.
Isn't that just so wild to think that you're that tiny?
Yeah. I don't know exactly what he'd be doing with that free will at that moment, but he's like.
Yeah, I remember my 18-year-old daughter, our first child, when my wife got pregnant. Of course, when y'all will probably find this out one day, but when you get pregnant with your first child, it's like the coolest thing in the world. You know, it's like,
sure,
wow,
yeah.
You've cooperated with God to bring a child into the world.
Yeah.
And so we went to the doctor. And you know Ina, she's 18 years old now, and we looked at the sonogram, and it was just like this little speck. I mean, it was just this tiny, and the doctor's like, "Oh, there's your baby."
You're like,
what? I mean, it was like a dot.
Oh my gosh!
There wasn't even a heartbeat yet.
Oh wow!
And to think that is Ina, who now is an adult, 18 years old. But anyways, so that little speck, Jesus would have been that size at one point, right?
Yeah.
You know, did he have free will?
Yeah.
As that little speck. Did that little
Yes.
speck have free will?
Yes, he
You're
did.
saying yes?
Yeah.
Anybody?
A person is a person, no matter how small.
Thank you, Dr. Seuss. Okay. All right. So here's what Aquinas has to say about this. He says, spiritual perfection was becoming to the human nature, which Christ took, which perfection he attained not by making progress, but by receiving it from the very first. We must therefore say that in the first instant of his conception, Christ had the operation of the soul which can be had in an instant. And such is the operation of the will and intellect, in which the use of free will consists. For the operation of the intellect and will is sudden and instantaneous, much more indeed than corporeal vision, inasmuch as to understand, to will, and to feel are not movements that may be described as acts of the imperfect being, which attain perfection successively. That's why I think that we don't have free will in the womb, because he says they're not movements that may be described as acts of the imperfect being, because we're imperfect beings, which attain perfection successively. So we gain it little by little. Jesus did not. He gained it all at the same time. We therefore say that Christ had the use of free will in the first instant of his conception. So he was actually in the womb, like thinking about stuff and pondering and free will, making
That's
decisions. Wild. You know, in that wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, next one. And any questions or comments from social media land or anybody saying
Let me
anything?
check. I don't think so.
No? Okay.
Forrest just said he voted for number 1 as well for the.
Okay. That was the
pictures.
reflection one?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You and Forrest are very like-minded.
There we go. Hey.
You
Great
both
minds
like
think
Catholic
alike.
radio.
Both like Back to the Father. I feel like
Both
that's kind of.
calling with donations during the share-a-thon. Oh, what maybe one of
I
you did.
did.
Oh, did you? Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
Remember that last hour? We're trying to get to 800 calls.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
you did.
I did. I
Yeah.
did.
Okay. I did also. So, all right. We're all good.
Well, no, I'm joking.
Well, I don't remember him calling in, but that's okay. Hey, when you're a high school kid, you got very little money.
Yeah, I gotta get a job first.
That's all right. Yeah, okay.
He's
Well, we're gonna-
volunteering his time.
You've just committed to donating once you get a job. Okay, so let us know when you get a job.
I'm
Oh,
sure I
boy,
will. I'm
that
sure I
pressure.
will.
So, could Christ merit in the first instant of his conception? I got a picture here because I think normally when we think of Christ meriting, we think of him on the cross,
Right.
which it was clearly meritorious. You know, he died in order to, save mankind, right? So, was he meriting as a little zygote? You know, was that something that he could actually merit? And then
If anyone could, it'd be him.
True.
that's a
Good point.
pretty safe bet.
Yeah. Oh, me and the stand are not getting on today.
Okay, so
Oh.
in fact, my you ever heard of like the divine will devotion, Luisa Picaretta? I'm
little bit.
curious if
Don't think
anybody
so.
has.
Little bit.
Divine will. My wife is into that. There's a lady named Luisa Picaretta who a lot of people have a devotion to her. She does a lot of writings about Jesus. But anyways, according to the Luisa Picaretta, Jesus merited and actually was suffering for mankind's sin while he was in the womb. So not
Wow.
only did he merit, but he was suffering. Okay,
Wow.
I don't know if this is church doctrine or not, but this is what came from that private revelation of Luisa Picaretta. All right, Christ was sanctified by grace in the first instant of his conception. Now, sanctification is twofold: that of adults who are sanctified in consideration of their own act, and that of infants who are sanctified in consideration of not their own act of faith, but that of their parents or the church.
Oh.
The former sanctification is more perfect than the latter. Well, that's an interesting comment. So he's saying the person who is basically receives baptism or sanctification as an adult, he's saying is more perfect, even though the church recommends being sanctified as a child, right?
Right.
So it's more perfect because you're doing it on your own free will. Just as act is more perfect than habit, and that which is by itself than that which is by another. Then he quotes Aristotle. Since, therefore, the sanctification of Christ was most perfect because he was so sanctified that he might sanctify others, consequently, he was sanctified by reason of his own movement of the free will towards God, which movement indeed of the free will is meritorious. Consequently, Christ did merit in the first instant of his concept. So he, we are sanctified, at baptism. Mary was sanctified, as Pius IX points out, because of the merits of Jesus and the favor of God. Well, Jesus sanctified himself. I mean, it's kind of like a reflexive type of sanctification. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, we also have a comment from Paula saying he was also using his will in the womb to atone for sins. He was always aware of his passion and the will of the Father, and to atone for the sins of mankind. I have learned he suffered greatly in the womb. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, that's my wife. She's in this divine will, and I don't know if Paula knows or anybody knows. Is that official church teaching? I mean that he suffered in the womb. Isn't that interesting? I mean, I don't think anybody ever thinks about that.
No, I don't think so.
I know
we don't think we really kind of think about Jesus shows up in the manger. We're here, we have the nativity, and we don't really think about that before. We have he was conceived, and then 9 months, and then boom, he's here.
I know. That whole period you just don't think about.
No, we don't.
Right? You
at
think,
all.
you think about the Annunciation, and then you think about the Nativity. You just jump right to it. Okay, so finally, the last one here is whether Christ was a perfect comprehensor in the first instant of his conception. Did he have the beatific vision? Did he have, which to me is it's hard to get my head around. One person being having a human nature, divine nature at the exact same time. And how are you kind of flipping back and forth, so to speak, between those two? He grew in wisdom and understanding, but you already got it all. I mean, you're God. I mean, how can I don't. It's just it's a total mystery. It's really fascinating to think about that.
It is.
Okay, so but in his human nature, Thomas is going to say he had the perfect vision of the divine essence from the moment of his conception. Isn't that amazing to think about that? All right, so here it is. It was unbecoming that in his conception Christ should receive merely habitual grace without the act. Now he received grace not by measure, but the grace of the wayfarer. Okay, that's you and I, church militant, the wayfarer. Plus, it's the name of the sunglasses also. But that's a whole different thing. Being short of that of the comprehensor. You think about it, like all these things are basically just saying that Jesus was absolutely perfect from the moment of his conception, because he wasn't like growing in perfection, like he had all the grace that he needed from the moment that he was conceived, right? Okay, wherefore it is manifest that in the first instant of his conception, Christ received not only as much grace as comprehensors have, but also greater than that which they all have. So he had more than we even will have ever in heaven. And because that grace was not without its act, it follows that he was a comprehensor in act, seeing God in his essence more clearly than other creatures. All right, so there you have it. So he could merit, he could have free will, he was a comprehensor, and he was sanctified at that moment.
Wow.
It's pretty neat.
Won't that make the Annunciation feast more meaningful next time?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Good answer. He's like, no, I don't know.
It didn't change anything here. I am unchanged.
Yeah, no change. What a hardened heart, huh? Okay, so that's that. Any other comments before we mosey on to our next stage?
Ask, his divine nature, his human nature had to develop like all humans, do you think, from then on? So like his divine nature, he knew everything, but then he still has to I gotta make sure he eats and
Yeah, well, the body wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
Because if it was perfect, then he would either been like conceived in the womb as like a 33-year-old. I mean, like this big body. But it had to develop. But it's one thing that Thomas actually brings up in one of these articles, the one about free will, because he says in one of the objections, for us to know anything, we come to know all things through our senses. And he says, well, at the moment of his conception, he would not have had the body. Like he didn't have ears, and he didn't have a nose, and he didn't have eyes, So how could he have had intellect if he could not know things? He couldn't have known things through the senses because he didn't have senses yet. It's pretty interesting observation.
Cool. Victor is here.
Oh, good.
And he wrote
Victor.
in Spanish. So I want to know if y'all can figure out what he wrote.
Okay,
Aquí presente.
say slowly.
Okay. Well, I'm also, apologies in advance, I mispronounced this. I only did 2 years of Spanish. Aquí presente, tarde pero presente.
Yeah, so where's Martin when you need him? Adrian probably knows Spanish. Can Adrian?
I don't think Adrian knows Spanish.
Correct
me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he says that he doesn't know it.
I feel like...
Well, you've been kind of hard on Adrian this
No,
show.
I'm saying he. Fine, Adrian. I'm pretty sure we had this conversation once where he's like, "Oh, I know." Everyone thinks that he knows Spanish, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Rough translation here. I'm pretty sure he's saying, "I'm here, late, but I'm here."
Oh, okay. Well, welcome, Victor. Glad you're here.
So apologies if I
than
slaughtered
never, right?
that entirely.
Okay.
Oh, I actually got to meet Victor this last weekend. He was at Monterey in Irving. He was selling his leather goods.
Oh.
I don't know, William, if you ever got to stop by the festival that they were having.
I was there for most of the morning and the beginning of the afternoon, but I left 1-ish or something like that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I wish so much that somebody among our small little cadre of loyal viewers would come and join us in studio sometime.
We literally have an open chair. We have an open spot for you.
We have a chair for you.
I would probably put them over there by
camera.
yeah, please. Anytime y'all are in North Texas, feel free to stop by the studio. I mean, on the weekends we may not be here, but on the rest of the time, we are here. Come by and say hi.
Yeah. And we're not even going to give the address because we're about to move.
That would not be helpful to you.
Yeah, we're moving. But
you can always email us.
Just think about it. If you can come in on a Friday sometime, we talked about the hot seat, kind of putting one person in the hot seat, some person who's
feel the pressure
being thrown
we all
into
feel.
it,
Yeah.
And so, anyways, well, good to have you, Victor, and thanks for that comment. Better late than never.
Exactly.
All right, are we ready to move on? Any questions about any of that subject matter before we move on? I find it pretty interesting.
It is really interesting.
I didn't know much of that before, so that was really interesting.
Yeah.
It's especially interesting, I guess, too, when we're in the season of Advent to be kind of pondering that those last few weeks, kind of like, oh, Jesus in the womb, but he wasn't just like vibing. He was busy.
Vibing?
That's not the right word.
No.
He wasn't just
but you're so right. I mean, we celebrate the Annunciation back in March, and then we celebrate Christmas. But during the year, they don't have like a feast day, like Christ in the womb, just to kind of remember that Christ is in the womb. He's developing, and maybe like halfway between Annunciation and Christmas.
Yeah.
Would that be pretty cool?
Oh, that would be.
Pope Francis, if you're watching, just a suggestion.
He watches most weeks, so,
I know. He hasn't shown up.
We have like 6 viewers, and he's one of them always.
Yeah. And, all right. Anybody else? Anything? Thanks for all the comments. Good to have everybody with us. And we always like to close out the program with what we call a trivia fun challenge. And boy, I am so ready to, because this is a little more so than William, but a little bit of a competitive spirit between these two.
It's that time of the show where we give Dave Summa to think about.
And he gives it right back.
And usually we look like fools because we're too competitive.
Well, a little add-on there, huh?
Yeah.
All right. There's the graphic. And, okay, William tends to come with one trivia question. Everybody, you are allowed to play at home in the comfort of your home if you want.
Of course, we do have a delay issue, so sometimes we'll give you the point because we'll just trust that you didn't hear it first.
Definitely
the answer first.
At a disadvantage. Yeah. Okay. So,
see, that's more the reason to come in person.
All right. So, William, well, go ahead. Hit us.
So, question unrelated to the topic. It's a Pope-related question.
Okay.
Pope, okay.
So it's Catholic.
I think Pope and Advent. I mean,
yeah, why not? So. Think back 16th century, okay? So
that's
Protestant Reformation.
Yeah, that time.
There's a lot happening.
So, a lot. So what pope was the cousin of Pope Leo X?
Oh, they were cousins?
Yeah, they were cousins.
I've never even heard of Pope Leo X. That's his cousin. So I'm supposed to.
Wait, that wasn't even our answer. I don't know, Pope Leo IX.
Nope.
I just wanted to throw it out there.
So Pope Leo, who's the cousin?
Is there any
cousin of Pope Leo X?
I'm going to go Pius V.
No.
Okay.
Is it a Pius?
No, it's not a Pius.
Is it a Leo?
Nope.
Is it a John?
Yeah. Is it a? What are some of the other big ones?
Well, you know, there's been 23 Johns.
Benedict?
There's been
is it a Benedict?
12 Piuses. There's been 15 Benedicts.
We're just getting bombed.
Let me know when you guys
Diane's back and she's like,
we get the idea, Diane. We're not getting these right. Okay, we understand.
Man, my self-esteem just like.
Is it a St. Gregory?
Oh, that's a good guess.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Is it a common, like one of the ones that has a lot of them?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, well, we're never gonna get it.
How about? Yeah, I had no idea.
Okay, I'll give it to you guys.
Pope Leo.
No. It's Pope Clement VII.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. That one? Gotta hold on to that one.
No, we said there's one that has a lot of them.
Hey, Forrest just commented Clement.
He guessed Clement?
Not the 7th, but he said Clement. He guessed the name Clement.
Yeah, Clement.
I'm going to give that point to Forrest.
Now, I got to say, this isn't sour grapes, but that level of difficulty was like through the roof. Okay? I mean, would you agree? I mean,
it was very niche. It was very niche.
Okay, like,
well, if you know your 16th century history,
I bet Adrian.
He's roasting us right now.
I bet Adrian didn't even know that one. Okay?
I don't think Adrian's here anymore.
I bet you if you asked like David Anders and Jimmy Aiken.
Yeah, ask Jimmy Aiken.
If I had a lifeline, I'd probably go to Jimmy Aiken.
Yeah, I think Jimmy Aiken would be a good person.
He knows everything.
He does.
That guy is absolutely brilliant about everything. I mean, Kent Loney, he wouldn't know. I mean,
I feel like this would be some weird niche thing Kent would know.
Yeah.
Because Kent knows some really random
Kent's
stuff.
Really smart, but not so much about like papal history. So so I had to just kind of get that out of my system. Okay? Kind of like
David just is a little bit sore.
Yeah,
a little sore.
Yeah. That's,
So
okay.
All right. Well, clearly Forrest had an idea though.
Yep.
All right. So for my trivia, Dave always is like, I won't go just for the really basic Advent trivia. Well, I do.
Okay.
I have.
Okay.
So it's a little bit. It's going to be a little bit of an interesting
Didn't
one.
want to overthink it.
No, it's. But I want to. It's going to be both of you are going to kind of go back and forth.
Okay.
And there are not very many well known Advent hymns.
Oh, I almost did this one. I am so, and I deleted it from my paper because I had them all in my paper.
I'm so glad you did. So, but I think what is the most popular Advent hymn?
Emmanuel.
Yeah, O Come, O Come, Emmanuel.
Did I just get a point?
No.
Okay.
That was too basic.
Okay.
No, what I want to do is see how far we can go line by line, back and forth between you two, going through the song.
Oh boy.
Oh, come, Emmanuel?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
We there's 8 verses. I know that.
Yeah, so let's see how far we can go.
And in English, right? Not Latin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now. Veni, Emmanuel.
Yeah. You going to be any good at this, William?
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, so time will tell for
Yeah.
sure.
We'll find out. All right. So we'll start. I'll let William start. I almost said something that probably would have been insulting to a lot of people. So never mind.
Glad you didn't say it.
All right. So we're going to quite literally, I'll cut you. I'll say stop. And then I'll point. I'll go back and forth
okay.
like that.
Cool.
When to stop and start. Okay. All right.
All right. O come, Emmanuel.
Imagine if he had messed up that.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Your turn.
And ransom captive Israel.
That loans and that. Oh man, I'm gonna have to start singing it.
Come.
I'm giving him a hint.
I hope we're only doing one verse.
Well, I'm hoping we can go.
Okay,
at
can
least
I
a
say
second.
it
That
for the
mourns and
win?
lonely.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Keep going.
And some here.
No.
Oh.
Exile. That
Lawrence
mourns and lonely exile here.
Okay, now let's go back to William. So William's negative a point.
Until the Son of God appears.
All right.
Okay.
You can do the refrain if you want a moment.
Okay.
If you want a moment to think.
Rejoice, rejoice. Oh, rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel.
Stop. Okay.
Okay.
And ransom captive Israel.
Yeah, I'll take that. No, it's actually technically it's slightly different. It's not.
Oh.
What is the
Rejoice,
rejoice.
It's ransom captive
Well,
Israel.
shall come to you, Israel, or ransom. I'll take both.
Okay.
It's okay. All right, Dave, start the second verse. Do you know how the start one goes?
Oh gosh. Oh, come.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Come thou.
No.
No. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. We've been singing this every night.
Yeah. See, that's
But it's
amazing.
always very rushed and
It's always amazing when you're not singing something,
yeah.
how
Yeah.
quickly you lose,
Yeah.
and if you're
I
not singing
know.
with a group too.
Right.
So, does anyone know what this?
come thou.
Nope. There's no
Okay.
thou in
Is
this one.
Root,
Anyone?
root of Jesse or something like that?
Nope. That's
No?
later on. That's like the fourth
Oh,
verse.
come.
Does anyone know what the start of the second verse is? I'm just curious.
All right.
Anyone?
well,
Wow, that's it.
good.
That ended quickly.
Yeah, that's kind of a tough one.
That was a tough one.
Gosh, y'all's level of difficulty.
I thought it wasn't going to be that hard. I thought I should have made y'all
neither,
sing it.
honestly. Yeah.
It's "O come, O wisdom from on high,
wisdom from on
who
high.
ordered all things
Yeah.
mightily." You
Yeah.
know,
Oh, come,
to
O
us the path
wisdom
of knowledge
from-
show and teach us in its way to go.
Oh gosh, when
then
you
the-
say that, it's like, of course.
Well, I'm just gonna now that we can all get a refresher. The second one goes, O come, great Lord of might, who to your tribes on Sinai's heights, in ancient times to give the law in cloud and majesty and awe. And then the fourth one is the really kind of think one that people knows is O come, O branch of Jesse's stem, until your own and rescue them from depths of hell. Your people save and give them victory o'er the grave. It's a good thing, and it's O come, O key of David. I think it's just an important. Maybe this was just an important reminder for us to ponder the words of the hymns we sing.
And also ponder 16th century popes and their cousins.
You know what? If you are looking for things to ponder,
Yeah.
we got you.
Yeah.
Wow,
All
I
right.
really thought that was going to go a little bit further than it did. I thought
Yeah,
we
I
get through two
know.
verses.
I
We
know.
did not get through
Could
two
you have
verses.
gone more than 2 verses?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I probably would have been singing it the whole time. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. All right. So I'm going to close things out here, and let's see. Oh, we're right on time.
You
We
told
got-
us that we needed a pen and a paper.
yeah,
And I would
pen
just
and
like to say
paper.
that I've already been sabotaged because I only got a paper and no pen.
Oh, okay. Well, here, all your dreams just came
Thank you.
true. All right.
Wow.
So I want you to write down these 9 countries on your piece of
no.
paper.
Oh,
Okay.
we did something like this a while ago, didn't
Yeah.
we?
Yeah, yeah. So come on, don't. Come on. Have a good
right.
attitude, okay? Sweden And
I've been there.
Please do this at home, okay? Philippines.
Not been there.
Japan. Not been there.
Not been there either.
Iceland.
I thought you were going to go
Ice baby. All right, stop. Collaborate and listen. I know all the words to that song. Ice is back with a brand new invention. I mean, that's pitiful. I know every word to Ice Baby.
I'm the same way, though.
Okay.
It's okay.
Finland.
That's the fifth one, right?
If you're counting, yes. New Zealand.
Kiwi land.
Denmark.
Been to Denmark.
Norway.
Been to Norway.
I'll quote my 14-year-old daughter. No one asked. She says that all the time. And it's very cheeky.
I just feel like I got roasted by her.
I know. You'll say something. She'll say, no one asked. Okay, and Ireland. Okay, so there should be 9.
Why did I think there was 15? I wrote 15 numbers on my
Okay, no, there's
Ireland,
9. Okay, so now here's the deal.
Okay.
I am going to read off a Christmas tradition.
I do it.
From one of these countries. Now, here's the deal. You are free to call out at any point during my reading.
Oh, no.
Okay, but if you are wrong, you lose a point. And if you're right, you get 3 points.
William, we need to be careful.
So go ahead and gamble if you want, but you're going to lose a point if you're wrong.
Well, I'm going to be so annoyed if I don't get the Norwegian one because my mom did a lot of Norwegian traditions because we are Norwegian.
Yeah, I know. Okay,
That's going to be bad.
So it's speed, right?
Just,
first coming.
At any point.
Okay.
But you could also, if you get it wrong, you might go into the negative points. Especially at the beginning.
Right off the bat, you might go into negative.
Okay, here we go.
Right. So here we go.
All right.
All right, here we go. Number 1.
Yeah.
In no particular order. Let me just go ahead and kind of mix things up here. Okay. All right. So in this country, they leave a tall red candle in a front window overnight, a welcoming symbol of. Okay, Sissel gets -1.
Dang it! I was actually really confident in that. That's why I was like, yes, I know this.
It's a welcoming symbol of warmth and shelter for the holiday season.
Thanks.
Traditional Christmas fare in this country often includes homemade roast goose, vegetables, cranberries, and potatoes.
Ireland.
Yes.
Oh, that's good job, William.
William is up by 4.
What?
Wait,
4?
He gets his 3, but it's down
it's 3
1.
points?
3 for a win, yes.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh,
what?
okay.
You guys don't listen.
No, we don't.
No, if you get one right, you get 3 points.
We're students, Dave.
Okay.
When do you think we listen?
Okay. Okay, so Sissel's at -1, William's at 3. Now,
like
if you go by our house at night, which you will see candles in every one of our windows. Why? Because I have an Irish wife.
Oh, right.
Okay, so we do that.
Okay, cool.
Ours are white candles.
Drive by your house more often.
I'll be like, honey, Sissel's out there again. Call the police. Okay, so you can now, Ireland has been taken. Okay, here's the next one. Although Christmas isn't a national holiday in this country.
Japan.
Yes.
Wow.
Of course, I have 2, though.
Now you got 2.
That's really just funny.
Okay, an estimated 1% of the population is Christian. Its citizens still find an interesting and delicious way to celebrate. We talked about this last week.
KFC.
Rather than listen to this,
Seriously.
Seriously. Rather than gathering around the table for a turkey dinner, families head out to their local Kentucky Fried Chicken. The tradition began in 1974 after a wildly successful marketing campaign called Kentucky for Christmas.
Yep.
The fast food chain has maintained its Yuletide popularity, causing some people to order their boxes of food months in advance.
Norway.
No, that was the same.
Or stand
Japan,
in a 2-hour line to get their finger-licking good food.
So the thing is that's funny about this is that so many other countries love KFC, and I feel like KFC is pretty bottom of the barrel as far as fried chicken in the States. You know what I mean?
Oh, I like it.
I'm just like quality-wise. You know what I mean? I think it's better quality in other countries than it is here. But anyhow, yeah.
But wow, what a great idea! Whoever thought of that promotion, imagine. I mean,
Kentucky for Christmas.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I love it.
All right, so
I
it's
would
now.
Also, by the way, your wife says I would never have guessed that with the Ireland one. We put white candles and turkey for dinner, but she would not have guessed that it was from Ireland. So.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So,
right.
and yeah, she grew up in Northern Ireland, but I'm sure they have pretty similar traditions. So, all right. Okay, you ready for the next one?
Yep.
The score is 2 for Sissel, 3 for
I don't like this
William.
negative thing.
These, no, you're in the positive now.
I know,
Okay.
but
yeah,
I
you
still
only did get
can't.
3 points.
3 points.
Okay, because summer falls during Christmas
New
time
Zealand.
here. Yes.
Because it's the only one in the southern hemisphere.
Yes. 1, 2. Okay. A number of their traditions center around a Barbie or grill where
Well, that would have given it away too.
families and friends gather for a casual cookout of fresh seafood, meat, and seasonal vegetables. The Christmas tree is the Pohukakua, a coastal species that
Not
blooms
expecting that.
a bright red color in December, providing shade during the sunny days as they sing carols in both English and Maori. It'd be kind of
Does
weird.
the Philippines fall in the southern hemisphere?
That
I can't remember. I said that so confidently, like
Okay.
that was.
Yeah.
the other
Sissel
one.
has now pulled ahead 5-3.
Let's
Okay.
go.
Okay. The next one. Before Christianity came to this country, Christmas Day was a celebration of brighter days.
Philippines.
Oh, that was my
Oh.
guess too.
Okay.
I didn't say-
William has lost a point.
Oh no! I'm sorry. Well, I'm glad I didn't guess it. That was going to be my
Christmas
guess.
Day was
though.
a celebration of brighter days called Jol, Jol,
Oh.
as it occurred just before winter solstice.
Iceland.
Another point against one.
Oh
Okay,
no! I'm going to say Norway.
Oh, Sissel loses a point.
Sweden.
Sissel loses another point.
Stop
Finland.
speaking.
Finland.
William has lost a point.
Denmark.
Yes.
We had to go through all the Scandinavian countries to finally get. I knew it was a Scandinavian country.
Oh my goodness. You guys don't have any patience, do you? Okay. Today, homes in Denmark are decorated with superstitious characters called nisser, who are believed to provide protection. On the evening of December 24th, Danish families place their Christmas tree in the middle of the room and dance around it while singing carols.
Imagine when they had like candles on the tree. How dangerous that was.
Yeah, they're dancing around.
That'd be a fiery tornado.
So it's Sissel for 6, William 0.
Oh no! I'm so sorry.
right.
We both knew, Dave, that it was a Scandinavian. Once after you got
Yeah.
eliminated, Philippines,
Yeah.
and you said
right.
Jewel, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's very
Yeah.
Scandinavian sounding.
All right, you ready? Sissy, you got a pretty big lead. No need to be sighing there.
I don't know.
Okay. Similar to the 12 days of Christmas in the U.S., this country celebrates 13 days of Christmas. Each night before Christmas, children are visited by the 13 Yule lads. After placing their shoes by the window, the little ones will head upstairs to bed. In the morning, they'll either have received candy if they're good or be greeted with shoes full of rotten potatoes if they're bad.
Oh no.
Well, you guys are being a little more
Yeah, we're being a
cautious
little
here.
bit more.
Yeah.
William, you might as well go for it, William. You got some catching up to do.
Yeah, but if I get it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one wants to speak first. We want someone to do process of elimination over here.
Yeah, but you only got like 5 in
Yeah,
your
but
page,
if he gets it right, though, if I like guess 3 times wrong, we're back to being tied.
Okay,
True.
so nobody can guess?
Okay, fine. I'm gonna guess Sweden.
Okay, you lost a point.
I'm going. I'll go with Norway.
You're at -1.
All right, not those.
You might as well go for it now. Gosh, you're down to like...
Sweden.
We already said that. I said that,
Oh.
so don't say that. So we still have Finland, Iceland, and Philippines.
Okay.
You want me to just give it to you?
No. Finland.
Okay, she's down, lost a
Well,
point.
okay, I'm gonna stop talking now.
Iceland.
Iceland, yes.
All right.
Oh
Okay,
my
so
gosh.
William has 2, Sissel has 4.
Is it a -2?
No, William has 2.
How do you get 2 points?
I was
Oh,
at
it's like
-1.
three.
Yeah,
right,
from
got it.
-1 to
I was-
okay. So that was
forgot.
Iceland. Okay, so we'll see how quickly it can all the fortunes
Yeah,
can
that's
change.
exactly
for you.
why I don't like.
All right, so it's 4-2. Sissel's on top. On Christmas morning, families in this country traditionally eat a porridge made of rice and milk, topped with
Norway.
Ooh, lost
Nope.
a point.
Dang it.
Okay, topped with cinnamon, milk, or butter. Whoever finds the almond placed
That's
inside.
Norwegian.
Wait.
That's a Norwegian tradition.
Just hold on. It can be done in other countries too.
Sweden.
Okay, she lost another point. This
Flippin'
time.
heck.
Finland. Finland.
Yes.
Finland.
I am
All right.
so done with this game. That is 100% a Norwegian tradition.
So these
This is a Norwegian tradition.
Okay. Okay, now just come on. We all have to maintain good sportsmanship, okay? Okay, let me just...
The Norwegian in the room calls protest.
William's up 5-2.
Okay,
Man, this is so great. Okay, on Christmas mornings, families in Finland traditionally eat a porridge made of rice and milk topped with cinnamon, milk, or butter. Whoever finds the almond placed inside one of the puddings
pass out the presents.
wins, but some families cheat and hide a few almonds so the kids don't get upset. At the end of the day, it's customary to warm up in the sauna together. I'm glad we don't have that tradition here. That should be kind of fun, but...
I mean, it might be 100 degrees in Texas, so that could be bad.
Yeah.
So William has a 5-2 lead, and we're down to our last three here, right?
Yes. So done with this game.
Okay, if you thought the United States went all out with Christmas decorations, you should see what this country does. Every year, the city of San Fernando holds
Philippines.
a giant... Yes.
Well, it's the only one that didn't sound...
Okay.
Okay,
it's 5-5. Okay.
Oh boy.
I swear, William and I don't do this on purpose, but we always make it really big nail biter.
I know. Isn't it interesting? They hold a giant lantern festival featuring dazzling paroles or lanterns that symbolize the Star of Bethlehem. Every lantern consists of thousands of spinning lights that illuminate the night sky. The festival has made San Fernando the Christmas capital of the Philippines.
All right.
So, we're down to our last one. Only two left, okay?
Are we
Here we
tied
go.
5?
Yep.
5-5 tie, yeah.
And
So if one of us gets it wrong, we lose,
and
right?
these are two
Yes.
Scandinavian countries. So
These are two very similar Scandinavian
Oh, boy.
countries, too.
basically, it's down to this one. Okay.
All right.
Let me see.
Come on, Norwegian roots, don't fail me now.
Okay, here we go.
They already have, but that's okay.
The Yule goat has been a Christmas symbol dating back to ancient pagan festivals. However, in 1966, the tradition got a whole new life after somebody came up with the idea to make a giant straw goat, now referred to as the gavel goat. The goat is more than 42 feet high, 23 feet wide, and weighs 3.6 tons. Every year, the massive goat is constructed in the same spot.
I think I know what it is, but I'm so
fans
scared.
can even
I
watch
know.
a live stream from the first Sunday of Advent until after the New Year when it's taken down. Okay, what country?
I think I have a feeling.
It's either going to be...
I wish I could read the next one so we knew what the next one was, because you're going between these two very close countries. Technically speaking,
you
if
guys are...
Dave, I'll go ahead and
Okay,
should we both guess? Can we both put a guess out?
What if you've got the same? Then it's going to be
Okay,
a tie.
I'll guess then Sweden.
I was gonna go Sweden as well.
Yes!
For the win! Yes! See,
Okay, can I know what the Norwegian was? One. The one
you know
was
the tradition?
I don't know. I don't know what it's gonna say.
Okay, well, here's Norway. In Norway, the Christmas season called Julebord begins December 3rd, filling up local bars and restaurants throughout the month. Families celebrate Little Christmas on December 23rd. Each have their own family ritual for the day that may include decorating the tree, making a gingerbread house, or eating hot rice pudding.
See? Rice pudding.
Hot rice pudding!
I told you.
But not the almond.
No, the almond is a Norwegian tradition because we grew up doing that. And it's, my mom read it, and we have a few books on Norwegian traditions at Christmas time, and that's one of them. And what we did at our family is that we did it on Christmas Eve. And it wasn't hot, though. It was, my mom always made it cold. But then we had raspberries on top, and then it had a whole almond, and whoever got that got to be the person who passes out the presents.
Oh, okay.
So that was like the game.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, you still won.
I still won.
Still
salty, but
just barely. I know it left a little bit of a scar.
just a little bit. I'm wounded.
well,
I can't believe Finland stole our tradition.
Are there any comments from our friends?
I think we scared everyone away with the
Okay.
aggressiveness of our game.
All
Well,
right.
Forrest at one point thought something was Ireland, but it was after we had gotten rid of Ireland as an option, and he was surprised by
Oh, okay. Is that when he said, "I'll be darned"?
Yes.
All right. That's going to do it. We will have a program next week, and we are going to talk about Thomas Aquinas and Christmas, the Nativity. Okay.
Who could have seen that coming?
I'm so creative. Where do I think of it? And then we'll be off for the rest of the year. So we'll see you next Friday. God bless you. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for joining us for Back to the Father. And don't forget, the glory of God is the human person fully alive. If you have comments about the show, email Dave Palmer at grnonline.com.